pronounce me the dirtbag? I will in a moment. I'm just a teenage dirtbag, baby. Oh, I think I did that.
Have your fun, have your fun.
Have your fun, yeah. You just realized?
I'm like, kind of just so down, like, oh.
My name is Larisse Campbell, my pronouns are she, her, and I am the director of Mr. Burns, a post-electric play. It was written by Anne Washburn in 2012. It was originally commissioned by a company called The Civilians in New York City. And it's about how pop culture can morph and change over the years. And so I think Anne's initial query or curiosity was, how does pop culture remain? And from there, they created, with The Civilians, this very cool piece of theater that has a bit to do with pop culture, a bit to do with The Simpsons, and a lot to do with a lot of other things too.
Mom, Dad, Mackie, Lisa, this way!
My name is Ava Albaisa. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm a cast member in Mr. Burns. I play Sam in the first 2 acts and then Bart Simpson in the 3rd act. I guess the logic is that I'm playing an actor who is playing Bart. I'm not exactly playing Bart because it's still technically a theater production in the future, but The Simpsons have become like these stock characters in a new form of theater, and like I don't know, like an epic in a way.
Remember, first I was afraid, I was petrified.
My name is Jipnam Kaur, and I go by she, her pronouns, and I play Jenny and Marge in Mr. Burns. I play Jenny in the first 2 acts, and Jenny is a very logical, loves information. She graduated from Harvard, so she's very, very smart. In the 2nd act, she's sort of the writer for the group. Yeah, it's been cool to play her because in some ways there's similarities, but in a lot of ways she's different in the way that she confronts people a lot, and that's not something I usually do. So it's like, oh right, I have to be more like, exactly.
Yes, my name is Fiona Silvis. I am an 4th-year BFA actor, and I play Quincy and Lisa in the production of Mr. Burns.
In Act 2 and 3?
Yes, Quincy in Act 2, and then Lisa in Act 3.
Such a day.
Yeah.
Such a day.
It takes place the first act immediately after the apocalypse, like almost a year after every nuclear thing is shut down. And Act 1 basically takes place around a campfire with these group of people who have found each other, and they're just trying to connect and try to relive some happy moments instead of focus on the bad. And a new stranger comes into the group and they have to figure out how to navigate this dynamic.
One of the first things these people do outside of just making sure they're all safe and have food and fire is, what is this thing that reminds us of what it is to be human? Oh, it's art. It's literally a Simpsons episode. And that's the time they find joy.
I'm gonna kill you, Bart.
Right, I'm gonna kill you, Bart, because doesn't she have a pen pal?
And then Act 2, it's like, it's only 7 years after, and yet they formed a theater troupe. It's like, this is their purpose now.
Art for these group of people is not just a survival tool, but it helps them to actually feel like they're alive, they can live in this world that's dying. And yeah, so it's these group of people who are obsessed with The Simpsons, and they do that to put art out there, and that's how they're making a living. And it has a bunch of time jumps, which get confusing, but I think it just like shows the evolution of art and pop culture like The Simpsons, and what can happen when you don't have technology anymore to like ground you in those ways, and where does imagination take you?
Act 3 takes place 75 years later, so these original people we can assume are probably dead. But their theater company has evolved in a sense where it's now taken on this idealistic Greek version of The Simpsons. So like Greek theater, there's a lot of heavily Greek influenced clothing, like togas, type of dresses, sandals, that kind of thing.
In Act 3, there is music. It's a musical singing, song, dance, sort of a play with music, a play within a play. The people of 75 years in the future have taken this Cape Fear story, and it has become something bigger for them. And the way they express sort of the themes of the piece of Cape Fear for them is through music. And so there's a lot of singing in Act 3.
Driving through the American South, Southwest, Southeast, across the plains, along the coast, straddling the borders with the radio on.
I think I classify this piece as a dark comedy with music.
So we had a music director working with us on the show, which was great. I've never looked at a musical score in my life before, so getting handed that on the first day was like, oh wow, this is a whole new world. But I think that just the exposure to it, like even though if I didn't understand everything that was being said, it was like learning, picking up on things like what is a system, what is a measure, and like I harmonized for the first time, so that was really cool.
And there have been some bumps and stuff with people learning how to read music for the first time and learning rhythms and stuff, which is,
How to read music?
I've never been good at reading music, just rhythms kind of, so like that was a little hurdle for me. But yeah, people learning how to read music, how to do in time, how to act and sing and dance simultaneously.
I'm pretty lucky to have been in musicals in the past, so some of it was already in my muscles, I guess. Like I'm pretty comfortable in both singing and choreography, but it's not something I've been doing for long enough where it's like, boom, I know exactly what's happening.
It's been a very long time since UBC Theatre and Film has had a musical. I don't know the exact number of years, so don't quote me. But I do know there has been some in the past, but it has been quite a long time. And there's a lot of pros and cons to doing a musical in this space. We're at the Frederic Theatre here at UBC campus, and we are in this very traditional proscenium space. However, it's a very large kind of cavernous stage. It goes quite deep, and so sound can be an interesting challenge to navigate. Oftentimes, as long as actors are projecting and they're on stage, they can be heard to the back of the room. But with the needs of singing, we need to make sure all the words are heard, because Act 3 tells a lot of the story through singing. And so this is the first year in a while that they are miking actors for that specific experience.
His back was turned, Nelson grabbed the candy. Yes, I grabbed the candy and I jammed it in my mouth. I ran moving to the yelling and the crowd was moving south. The crowd was surging towards the edge of town. Revolts of flames rose through the air.
Larisse wanted us to have our own mark on things. Lior, who's the choreographer, like a lot of moves that we came up with in small assignments in our movement class, which is taught by Liora, but actually made its way into the choreography in Act 3.
Larisse is very much like, she wants to create a family dynamic, which is very important. As the group of fourth years in acting, there's only 8 of us, which is, we have a small program, but even smaller, like we have one of the smallest classes in many years. So we already have that really tight-knit like reliance on one another. And Larisse coming in and everyone just kind of make it like closer and more connected and warm was very welcoming, and she let actors explore things a bit more. And even now, like getting up to it, if you ask, can I try this? She's like, we'll see in rehearsal, and then I'll tell you if I like it or not. If it doesn't work, but you can try it next time we do it.
She's never said like, no, I don't think that works. Like, no, or like, I'm not sensing that strong enough. She's always like, okay, we'll try it. And all that it matters is that it's real and active for you. It doesn't really matter what I think. she puts a lot of trust in us.
Nice.
And that's great.
That is
yeah.
good.
And very encouraging. I felt that she's always encouraged, I'll speak for myself, always encouraged me to take it as far as I want and risk things. Just see how it goes. No one is going to, no one's gonna think it's too weird, and no one's gonna think you're taking it too far.
They asked me if I wanted to have a wig or headpiece, but I said no to it because I want to, because for me, as much as acting is about becoming a different character, I think there's, as I'm learning as a student, there's a lot of values that I need to uphold as a sick artist, and like having this thought not being like hidden or covered or taken off is something very important to me, that I like to wear it. So, and the costume team and Larisse was like super accommodating, and then like they made like this really pretty mask, and like there's like some little blue pom-pom thingies, but like doesn't cover the whole facade. You still get the best of both worlds, you know. So it's like I still feel seen and I still feel like my character. So it was really great. But yeah, tackling these things about like the lines of how far can I go as an actor, but also what do I need to do that still feels like me on stage.
Oftentimes, you know, you look at a piece and you can put like a big treatment on it, or, you know, you can set Romeo and Juliet on Mars if you were so inclined to do so. But this is a piece that already has so much detail, and the scale is so large that it wasn't a need to necessarily put a major treatment on it. I think you can take the piece as it stands and explore it, and you are going to find your way through it.
Another theme we talked about was also with media and how pop culture can survive. And that was a very interesting theme to play with, because there's so many pop culture references, specifically in Act 2 as well, with these people trying to bring in this sense of, oh, I remember that. Like, there's points like there's a Justin Bieber costume, there's a Britney Spears costume, there's Eminem raps, like there's a medley of a bunch of different pop culture stuff that has accumulated together to, continue storytelling and continue the media and provide a sense of comfort and home to people.
I think it's really cool that when people go through dark times or rough times, or if their world feels like it's ending, that's when artists sometimes create their best work. The thing that draws us in is when they talk about those like real life human experiences, and that's sometimes how the best art gets created. And I think just like how that is a survival tool, and how that can show us the light in the dark, that yes, things are messy, but like we're all humans going through it together. And there's like, even in like the musical score in the second act, we talked about like, hey, yeah, we know that the world is breaking up and this is happening and there's a mess, and we see that, but like we can still survive. And I think it's just really cool how art is the thing that does it for people.
I think it is a very timely play, for sure. I think that everyone at any point of adulthood and stuff longs for that sense of nostalgia in a world that can feel like so out of your control, to like find that thing that is familiar and comforting to you, to kind of ground yourself. I mean, especially in the play during a nuclear apocalypse, that's like the worst case scenario. So I think you would probably want to find something to hold on to keep you kind of sane and not crashing out about.
I said, it's only a fire. The flames were cracking like bones. I turned the corner, rising over our home. The towers broke, no joke. Broken, smoking. I can't stop looking. Take a whiff of that smell. That's not humans cooking. I said, fellas, ladies, follow after me. There's people in there. There's employees. We gotta run, we gotta
But this show, I was like, oh, but there's literally, I'm sure you've heard somewhere, there's like 50 costumes in this play. There's 8 of us. And it's hearing that and seeing the sets, how there's multiple set changes and they're big. It's like, that's why I really felt it. I was like, I really hope that, I'm doing them justice.
You can't make theater in a silo. You cannot make it alone. It is at its heart a community-based event. You literally have to stand and lean on the people around you to do all of the work, because making theater is hard. It is long hours. It can be exhausting. It can feel overwhelming at times. And you truly have to have a community of like-minded artists. I always say we're pulling on the same rope. Like, our goal is to make the best version of our version of Mr. Burns we can with the capacities we have. And so I can't do it all. I literally don't know all the information on how to make theater, and likewise for a lighting designer, a sound designer, a costume designer, set designer, like we literally require each other as humanity to make the art.
Yeah, and the costume department and props and set and everyone just knocked it out of the park with everything. So, like Act 3, I don't think people are ready for Act 3. I'm just gonna say it, like we have something that has not been done a lot on stage. Not in terms of like local theater. And it's a big set piece I'm very excited for.
Is it a spoiler to say?
Yes, I can't. I've been told multiple times, you shush.
Someone in the cast, when we were talking about it, and he was like, yeah, you know, this is probably one of the biggest things happening production and scale-wise in Vancouver right now, and it's a student thing. But like, it's an honor, but it's also like, holy smokes, like it's true. It's such a privilege, and we're just, you know, like in our 4th year of an undergrad degree.
I think one of my favorite moments, I hope this isn't spoiling it, but it's like from the Cape Fear episode of The Simpsons. I'd suggest people to watch that episode. And there's the FBI scene that happens in that FBI agent scene in that episode is one of my favorite parts, and that gets shown in the play too, in maybe a different way, but it's one of my favorite things to watch as I'm in the play, so look out for that.
Support theater, always. Support the arts, always. Our theater program is so small, not everyone knows we have an acting program, so it's always good to, you know, see what's going on. And also seeing what, like, I mean, you get discounted tickets. If you're a student here, you find yourself on campus a lot. See what's going on and see something like, hey, I didn't know my school was doing something this was like hundreds of hours of my fellow students and faculty's time, and I didn't even know it was happening. It's like, here, come watch it then.
And so it's been a really enriching time. Still making work as a professional director, and we try and fit it in where it all works outside. But yeah, I'm really glad that I got to come do it here and do this piece as my thesis piece. And I'm excited for what comes out of here after, and all of the wonderful sort of connections I've made in this program.
Big future ahead.
Yeah.